Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Dbt04 here. We are finally ready to begin Dbt05 and I'm just really excited for this expansion. I understand a lot of people are really sick of the whole, nostalgia again. We've seen these before, boo-hoo. But to be honest, I feel that this nostalgia is actually pretty well qualified because of the amount of steps they've taken into place. It doesn't feel like V where the nostalgia is just for the sake of it, whereas this is really more planned. Like they're trying to tie it in with the whole 10th anniversary thing, so they've repeated foilings from BT05. They tried to recreate skills that weren't complete trash, not like VPBO. They've actually put in work stuff like DDOTE, DMLB. They're all pretty good in my opinion, and we will be covering all three on the channel. As for the new Craycross Epic stuff, I may or may not be covering them depending on my budget. We're quite strained thanks to the encounters, but it's a strain that we are more than happy to take. So today we are going to be covering the first one, which is obviously Phantom Blaster Overlord. Now, I have to state this before we actually start the video. There are many ways to actually build this deck because PBO is just so flexible in my opinion. Like you can play this on turn 3, you can play this on turn 4, you can choose to just slide this into soul, you can choose to ride this on turn 3. You're right, your main deck options are also equally diverse. I mean, PBO walking in was, while the weakest set, it did have the most options because throughout all 3 sets from 2, 3 and 4, Phantom Blaster Dragon has actually received support like in bulk. Not like Dragonic Overlord, where it didn't get that much support, but the cards they have were more than enough to carry it through 3 sets. So the thing is that when you introduce something like Phantom Blaster Overlord, then you start to realize that a lot of your options in the past can now be viable. And you will see that in this list because we've brought back cards that you probably forgot about already. So I just want to make it clear, for this deck version, we are playing this in the right deck. I do believe it is better because it's more consistent. If you just ride into Phantom Blaster Overlord and pray to slide Phantom Blaster Dragon into the soul, I feel that's literally just a recreation of Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion, the Blood and V, which, for those of you who are aware, it's not a really good deck. I love it, but it's just not a good deck. And in a format like D series, I just don't think that's viable. I've tested it before. When it pops off, it pops off. When it doesn't pop off, you just completely just fall over and die. Like, you might as well just be playing something like Ballista at that point. So very honestly, I feel this is the best compromise, and it just happens to be the most flavorful compromise. So just want to put it out of the way. If you are not happy with this decision, you can click off this video, you can go. But if you're actually interested in seeing how PBD is used in a right deck based deck, then this is a list for you. And since I've already spoiled that PBD is in the right deck, our right deck is actually going to be really simple. We play 1 Full Ball, 1 Blaster Javelin, 1 Blaster Dart, and 1 Phantom Blaster Dragon. Now, I really should not have to go over these in great detail. Full Ball is your D series starter. You can choose to play whatever starter you want. Blaster Javelin, if your Vanguard's a blaster, he gains 2k on the Vanguard circle. When rolled upon a Blaster Dart, you spray call the top card of your deck as rest. If not, it goes into the drop zone, which that counts for orders. Blaster Dart has 2 abilities. When placed on VRR, you counterblast 1, retire 1, choose one of your opponent's Vanguard to retire it, and then this unit gains Twin Drive. So it's actually pretty interesting that it's a 1-for-1 trade, and on a Vanguard circle it gains Twin Drive. So no, if it's on a Rearguard, it does not do the drive check. Guys, it's been 4 sets. And as well as this guy's skill is that when a Rearguard is retired, he gains 5,000 power as a continuous skill on the Rearguard circle. So that means on a Rearguard, he is a 15k beater. So pretty good. Phantom Blaster Dragon, when rode on the Vanguard circle, you choose a card with Blaster from your soul and Superior Calling. Ideally, because we are focusing to go into PBO, you should be using Blaster Dart. So I just want to make that clear. It's not like last time where you had the option of choosing one and then 2 more. No, you want to use a Blaster Dart. You'll see later. Second skill is Counterblast 1, retire 3 of your own Rearguards. This unit gains 10,000 power and +1 critical. Choose 2 of your opponent's Rearguards and retire it. So it's the same skill. The thing is that a lot of people hate this card because the past 3 sets they've only had this, and that's why they really were just like, okay, quick, slide him soul, don't care about it anymore. I understand that fear because as a PBD player myself, I really just don't really like this skill. But you have to understand, this skill was actually pretty good on a turn 3 basis. It's just that every turn after that, you are just minusing yourself to stay alive, and you just reach a point where you straight up die. But with stuff like PBO, your end game is virtually guaranteed. It's just so much better. So you can still afford a turn or two on this thing, and then after move on to PBO to make sure that your end game is more sustainable, more friendly to you. The other thing to note is that this is our main source of control, our main source to retire. In the early game, if you're being rushed by stuff like Bafsagra, if you're being rushed by generally anything, you can just start trading off your own corpses to kill off your opponent, which will help you a lot in the long run because PBO focuses on a lot of different things, which is multi-attacking, but PBD focuses more on raw power as well as the actual sniping, which the sniping does help, so do keep that in mind. Moving on to our grade 3s, we play 4 copies of Phantom Blaster Overlord and 1 copy of Phantom Blaster Dragon for the right deck. So this has actually been covered already. I don't have to cover this, we just did. Phantom Blaster Overlord, he's what you are truly here for. He is the main star of this deck. The Crossride, at long last. Ever since PBD came out, we were like, oh, I can't wait for PBO. It's here. It's finally here. Beautiful foiling, by the way. They are recreating the foiling from Dbt05, so if you have a physical copy of the card, take a look at it. It looks the same. When you have a Phantom Blaster Dragon in your soul, this unit's critical is changed to 2, as long as it's in the soul. So if you soul blast it out, you're losing this effect, just like a Crossride. Second skill is when this unit attacks, choose 2 of your own rear guards and retire it. Select a Blaster Dart from your soul or your drop zone and superior call it. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gains 10,000 power. Your Blaster Dart called by this effect also receives 10,000 power. So, going first into a PBO, if you play this in the right deck, you don't get this plus 10, you just retire 2 of your own to spawn a Blaster Dart, which is okay, but it's not that great, I suppose. Understandably, if you play turn 3 PBO, means you could Persona right, and the Persona right PBO multi-attacking is actually pretty cool, but I mean, at that point, you might as well just be playing something like, I don't know, Bastion, or like literally any other better multi-attacking decks than PBO for that matter. That's just one point. The second thing is that you, of course, need your Phantom Blaster Dragon in the soul to actually gain your critical. So if you just straight up never slide this in, you're always going to be just 1 critical, which, you know, if you've known Phantom Blaster's history at all, you know that 1 crit kind of mediocre, especially if you don't restand with stuff like, you know, Phantom Blaster, Dragon Abyss. You don't get that. But with this, you kind of do want your crit, to be honest. I understand that in the deck where they play PBO in the main deck, they're like, oh, we don't care about the crit, you know, we just want a multi-attack. But the multi-attack isn't that great either. It's just really cool. And the reason why it's actually really cool is because the rest of the deck has been built on such strong tempo from the last 3 sets lists that have mastered early aggression and tempo. You will benefit of having such a great any game, but if you're just making this your main objective of the entire deck now, then it just kind of defeats the whole purpose of the past 3 sets. You might as well just have came in clean with MLB, but it's still your choice. Ultimately, this is no way a dissing or disparaging of his card. I still think this is wonderful compared to VPBO. This is way better. And I seriously do feel that this is a great card. So if you're a Phantom Blaster player, pick it up if you can afford it. I strongly recommend it. Moving on to our grade 2s. We play 2 more copies of Blaster Dart in the main deck. So we play a total of 3 actually. It's really nice. The foiling is different from the 02 and 05 reprint. So yeah, just do keep it out. Then we obviously play 4 copies of Scourge main. And 4 copies of Darkness Maiden. Matcha, I think. Yeah. Okay, so let's break it down. Blaster Dart is the same for the right deck, so that's 1 copy taken care of. I played 2 more, just because Blaster Dart is a good card. Like, you know, from set 2, we played 4, and then it's just kind of been always that way. I just cut it down to 3 since we don't really need it that much. But it's still just such a great card. It's a 15k beater. It can help you spot remove if with the extra CB. There's just nothing else you want, and in case your Blaster Dart, your 1 copy, does not re-enter circulation into the ecosystem for PBO, you do have other options. The rest of the grade 2 lineup for the Shadow Paladin based deck is okay, but like I wanted something with a bit more free and more agile numbers rather than needing hard commitment. Like the previous few cards, they needed, oh, 2 more of your rear guards must retire against 10k, or you must Soul Blast and then against 10k. No, this guy is just a free 15k beater, and he's not even on place like Matcha. So is that name Matcha? I feel I'm getting it wrong. I'll get it to that. But yeah, this guy, good card. Let's cover the name that I definitely do know, Scourge the Main. Scourge the Main is the other 10th anniversary triple rare for this set. Arguably the better one for some people, but I still feel that both are equally good. As long as your Vanguard belongs to the Shadow Paladin clan, as long as your Vanguard is a blaster against 5k power. So you see actually she's pretty weak, she's just a 5k because they wanted you to play this in Luat Premium. How cute. But yeah, you can now change this back to a 10k. I really don't know why they did this. Like, I feel like they should have just done it as a grade 2 10k and give you extra power. Like that would have made it more impactful, but I mean they wanted to be considerate of premium, so okay, fine. Second skill is when placed with your Vanguard belongs to Shadow Paladin, you count +1, move 1 card from your hand to the soul, you draw 2 cards. The old main also had, if your Vanguard Shadow Paladin, count +1, discard 1, draw 2. It's practically the same, it's just that this time you slide a card from your hand to the soul, just so it can give you the hope of, doing this guy as a turn 3, which they did mention. Bushiroad has actually officially mentioned and put out a visual on this, so I do actually appreciate that they designed their cards this way, so it is cool. Keeping the old essence and still doing new, I just have no complaints with that. In terms of the actual deck slot though, the main does actually compete with Counter Blast with Phantom Blaster Dragon and Blaster Duck, which is a bit of an issue, but I feel that as long as you use your Counter Blast wisely, the rest of your Counter Blast can easily just move on to the main. Like, it's just a good card you want to spend your Counter Blast on. Just, don't actually forsake Blaster Dark, turn 2 Counter Blast from the main. That's just the wrong move altogether. Then with this girl whose name I keep forgetting, she's actually from set 2, but nobody played her because she was just so trash. But now, you actually can. When placed on the Vanguard circle, if your Vanguard is a blaster, this unit gains 5,000 power to the end of this turn. Then, you can choose to pay Soul Blast 1, retire one of your own rear guards, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and superior call 1 Great 1 or less from among them. You actually get to selectively replace your corpses on the board, which back then is completely trash because we didn't even have enough. But we've reached a set in time where you now have so much pieces on the board, you can actually choose to mix and match and play around your stuff. And Soul Blast is no concern because you already have stuff like the main, it's fine. You can afford that one Soul Blast here and there. So it is pretty good. But even if you don't want to replace the stuff on your board, you can just have a 15k beater for free. It's just the only problem is that it's in one place. So do make sure you get rid of her before she becomes the vanilla. Our grade 1 lineup, we play 1 copy of Blaster Javelin for the right deck. We play 4 PGs. We play 4 Charon. We play 4 Mugen. And we play 4 Fionera. So let's actually just break it down. The PGs, we are playing the start deck PGs just because it has a higher power. So, it could help you here and there, very honestly. But like, it's not the best thing in the world. If you can play the other PG, it's really your choice. I just choose Blade just because of the 7k power. Blaster Javelin is for the right deck. You already know what he does. Then we'll move on to Fiona. Fiona is probably the most surprising pick for this deck, and it's one of the best picks from set 4. As long as there's no other rear guards in the same column as her on your side and the opponent's side, this unit gains 10,000 power, which means on turn 2 onwards, you get to rush with an 18k beater. Insane! Absolutely insane! You just drop this thing down, you just start swing, you just beat them up. Even on later turns with stuff like PBD, if you're clearing up your board and you don't want to leave as many people around as possible, Fiona can easily just turn an entire column into a death trap. So it's 18k even on turn 2, turn 3, that's still about a 10k guard for a 13k base, unless you're MLB, then crap. So really, it's just a good card altogether. I understand that this is more of a technical choice, which some people may not be very comfortable with, but I say if you are more used to its aggression, you should certainly pick this up. It's a really good card. I'm saying good quite a lot this set. Maybe that's a good thing. For Armored Knight Mugen is the double rare from Dbt04. It's still solid enough to see play. When placed from hand, you can discard one card. If your Vanguard's a blaster, you get to superior call the top two cards of your deck as rest. Yeah, so basically it's a +1. It was designed to help you around PBD, so you didn't minus that badly. Nowadays, though, it's still alright in terms of actually gathering pieces on the board, so I still would recommend playing Mugen. I understand this card's actually pretty hard to find nowadays for some reason. I mean, a lot of people bought this up really quickly after PBO was announced, and you know it was already quite hard with the whole pooling of rates. But if you can find this, which should not be too hard, please pick it up. It is good. Our last grade 1 for this set is Charon. Charon is a returning card. He's an encounter card, so you definitely remember him if you're a Shadow Paladin player. When placed, if your Vanguard is a blaster. Yes, so this actually does work with MLB if you do wish to play it. Not sure why you would. It's a blaster. You can rest this unit, look at the top card of your deck, superior call it if you can. At the end of the turn, the unit you call must die. It must retire. So you may be wondering, why am I going to call something with Holo? Like, what the hell? That's so bad. Well, because you can just use stuff like PBD to sack it off, and that was the whole point of it. So yeah, the only issue I have is while Charon is free, it does become rested, so you do lose out on this 7k, and I guess that's a good and bad thing. But at the end of the day, you can't just sack off Charon the next turn, or you can even sack off Charon the same turn with the card he called. So it's not all that bad. Charon does not work with Mugen because Mugen calls the card as rest. I feel I should just take that. Our grade 0s, we play for heal triggers, obviously. Play a crits. 3 draw, 1 OT, and we play full bow as our starter. Yeah, I mean this one was really quite intuitive. We need to play 8 crits because we are interested in killing. This is still a PBD deck at the end of the day. You need your crits. We play normal heals, not just because Arceus is cute, it's because, you know, the effect heals don't really help this deck that much. It may help other decks. The heals are really more of a meta choice in terms of what you're afraid of that will appear. Personally, I'm not afraid of anything. I'm playing start deck PGs, guys. I'm prepared to die, so 15k shield, you can stay and you're cute. We play 3 draw because PBD is still a piece relying deck. I understand fronts are more aggressive, but you know, this is still a deck that revolves around minusing to get effects, so draw. Let's draw. Full bow is our DC starter. And lastly, we play Obaria. We are not playing Armatina. I can't pronounce that thing. This guy is good because if you're using Phantom Blaster Overlord, right, as your third attack and then Blaster Dart as your fourth attack, you generally would prefer just 200 millions rather than a twin drive or drive check on Blaster Dart. So very honestly, I feel that the argument just kind of solves itself. If you really wanted to play Armatina, I guess that's fine, but I still feel that honestly the 100 million times 2 is just a lot better for this deck because you are getting the options for multiple attacks, and your Blaster Dart at 25k power may still not be enough for some defensive, so let's just triple up, beat them up. Even in the early game though, your corpses that you spam and aggro with are relatively small, so you do actually prefer to get a 100 million boost rather than just a +1 to hand, because what you need is kill pressure, not a plus. I really can't pronounce this. My English is not that good. And that wraps it up for Phantom Blaster Overlord. I think my general thoughts are something all of you can predict. I like this deck a lot. I feel that honestly, Phantom Blaster Overlord has made this deck so much better. It used to be such a pain playing this sometimes, even though I really like the aesthetic. But I mean, it's changed, you know. Shadow Paladins has always been good. For the past like 3 sets indeed, they've been completely beat down on. This is a set where they're finally playable once again. I feel that you will see this here and there at some tournaments. It's not going to be good, it's not going to be meta, guys. Not going to be meta. But I feel that it's certainly good enough to see some form of play as a good rogue deck, good rogue option. And with more than enough actual cards that you can play in this deck, like I said, the Shadow Paladin pool for Keter is big. So you do actually get options to try around and see. So you won't see 2 exactly of the same Shadow Paladin decks in my opinion. So You could actually catch people off surprise with your interesting text and options that you get from your own testing. So ultimately, it's all about your own testing. So don't be afraid, put in the work, and you may be rewarded. People who play this deck for 3 sets, you have now been rewarded with an actual end game. Well done. Thank you all so much for watching. Like I said, we are covering the rest of the other 2 encounter decks. So do stay tuned. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.